Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Disc-ussions, where we talk about everything from movies to music and a bunch of other shit. My name is Adrian, aka Move Mantis, here once again with my lovely co-hosts.
Hey, I'm Daniel, aka Rated DG13. Sorry, we haven't recorded in so long, but I mean, we're back and we're, recording physically instead of over Discord, so, this should be interesting.
I mean, it should go over a lot smoother. Oh, yeah. Now, it feels good to be back. So it feels good to actually record some shit again.
Mm-hmm.
After, I don't know how long. When did that last episode come out? I don't remember.
Must have been like December.
December, November. I thought it was November.
No, November, yeah.
Damn. So that's like 3 months?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I'm here too.
Sorry, Hunter.
I'm Hunter, and it's like 60% my fault. So that's why I haven't recorded so long. But we've just been busy.
A little bit, yeah. I won't sugarcoat it, but I won't be an asshole.
Yeah, this doesn't pay the bills yet.
I mean, not yet, yeah. Hey, you never know. But as far as shit happening last couple months, I feel like not much has really gone on, kind of movies-wise or just kind of in the entertainment industry in general.
Or at least not stuff that we've been on the same page about.
Yeah. We were thinking about discussing the recent Oscar nominations. Or not recent, but the newest current Oscar nominations. And just going to fully admit, we haven't seen like a majority of these. Kind of like we've been saying, we've all just been real busy running around, fucking like our heads are on fire. Not really be able to do much of anything besides, the shit we gotta do and like work for the most part. But I think out of all of us, I have seen the most of these Oscar nominations.
We've all seen different ones. Like I'm the only one who's seen Poor Things, I think, and I think you're the only one who's seen The Holdovers.
Ah, damn, really? Okay, I'm gonna go. I have the Best Picture nominees pulled up in front of me right here. And I'm just going to go down the list. Did any one of us see American Fiction?
No.
Nah, but I wanted to.
That's the one about the guy who writes the book, but he writes it very generically or like...
people are like praising it.
Yeah, it was like, because it's like fucking like Tyler Perry or like BET or like kind of what the Boondocks kind of rag on a lot. It's like this kind of black-focused kind of writing, and he makes like a book about it, or he gives up writing a book and just does that, and that ends up being super successful for some reason.
Isn't it because he does like in a more like kind of stereotypical kind of delivery? It kind of reminded me of that Spike Lee movie. I can't remember the name of it, but it was like these white guys intentionally like making the worst like movie or television show or something, and it catches on, and they're like in blackface or whatever. And this kind of sounds like along those same lines, but like sort of inversed.
Yeah. All right, and then after that one, it's Anatomy of a Fall. I don't know like really anything about this one.
I don't know.
Yeah,
it's I think about someone falling, I would assume.
Yeah, a lot of these I haven't like seen, so I haven't researched because I kind of just want to go into them completely blank.
Well, American Fiction, I know I just saw like a lot of trailers for it. Just going to see other movies, I would just see that a lot.
Yeah, same.
But I don't really know too much about Anatomy of a Fall. So, Barbie.
Yep, that's the
next one.
Obvious one that we've all seen.
We all went to go see it. If you missed Barbenheimer, I'm sorry, because that was a good experience. Honestly, like, I'm not usually one to go see double features, see two movies back to back, but I don't know, this one's kind of worth it. And it was kind of funny how at some points in the movie they like mirrored each other thematically. Like, I feel like, ironically enough. But so yeah, if you didn't get the chance to see those two at the same time, especially in a theater, I feel sorry for you. I'm sorry. But yeah, Barbie was good. I don't think it'll win Best Picture, but also think it's just kind of ironic. I said this earlier, just like no women for that movie got nominated for anything.
Yeah, I mean, like, I'm not too up in arms about it because they they mainly complained that it wasn't like best director or best actress, but yeah, I mean, like, that's just been kind of an issue for a long time because they segregate the actor and actress awards. Like, you would get more eyes on like a ton of different female directors if they just had that category, and I'm sure she would have been nominated for that.
And we should go down the list because I haven't really seen most of the other nominees, mostly just Best Picture, because I've been trying to watch all those movies. I'm just curious who beat her out because I thought she did a great job. I thought, you know, same thing with Greta Gerwig. I think you really don't have that movie without Greta Gerwig. Like, it just doesn't exist because like there's so much of her personality and her writing in that film that you wouldn't have it as good or as introspective as it is without Greta Gerwig. So, like, same thing kind of with director. Like, I'm curious to see who took her spot because I think she did phenomenally for something that is basically just a doll. It's kind of like who's the guys who made the Lego movie?
Phil Lord and Chris Miller.
Phil Lord, Chris Miller. It's kind of like them. It's just like, without someone at the helm, and I always say this, without someone at the helm with a vision, you just don't have anything. So it's kind of odd to see her kind of snubbed from that. And I'm kind of agreeing with you. I'm not like up in arms or anything about it, but yeah, it's kind of like, oh damn, really? Like shit.
Yeah, I do agree more with the director snub than the actress snub. I think she had a strong visual style and more so with like kind of the set pieces than the actors themselves. I did like what she did with the Barbie world and like how everyone there acted. But I mean, I kind of feel like it's a missed opportunity for those like real world scenes because like everyone kind of has that same level of goofiness and it is funny. I wasn't like annoyed, but I just feel like it would have hit harder if they kind of went for that like Jon Favreau elf approach where it's like Will Ferrell's the only like weirdo in this movie. If they had done that with Margot Robbie and like you know,
imagine if like, because I already know Ryan Gosling got nominated for Best Supporting Actor. Like, imagine if fucking Will Ferrell got nominated for both him and Ryan Gosling. Just that's like a big I don't know, kind of like fuck you to like the director and Margot Robbie. I feel like if they did that. Because that's the other thing, you know, I understand, you know, there's other actresses or other directors that you want to nominate, but I don't know, it's kind of the nominating Ryan Gosling, who did a good job, and I'm not even saying he shouldn't have been nominated, but nominating him but not nominating the others is just kind of weird to me. Yeah. It's just kind of odd. It's just like kind of why would you do that? Like, I know Ryan Gosling was funny, he was a big part of the movie, but, you know, the two big crux of that movie, what make them work, is Margot Robbie and Greta Gerwig. So, yeah, like, I'm not, kind of like you, I'm not up in arms about it. It's just kind of an odd, weird snub. Like, why would you nominate Ryan and not the other two that are literally, like, carrying the movie?
Well, I feel like the way they went about it was, like, it's the opposite for them. They're like, oh, we gave Barbie something, you know, like, because it was funny, but, like, there's other movies that they like more than Barbie. And, like, they kind of just, like, were like, about Barbie?
I guess, but, like...
I don't know their thought process anymore. Yeah. You can tell whenever they're, like, pandering and when they're just kind of... Like, I don't know who likes Maestro. I haven't heard anyone say they like Maestro.
No.
But it's also the most Oscar movie in that entire list.
Yeah, no. Like, I don't...
Not Oscar deserving,
like,
just
there's
Oscar...
two movies...
bait, yeah.
Well, two movies on here that I didn't even... know the existence of, and that was Zone of Interest and fucking Maestro. And I thought, like, Maestro, like, because I think Zone of Interest, is that like a foreign film or no?
Yes.
Okay, I thought so. So that's a more understandable. And I thought Maestro was too, but I'm like, oh, fucking Bradley Cooper's in this. What? I'd never heard, never seen, never even, like, heard or smelled a trailer for this, like, ever. Like, this is, like, my kind of notification that it exists. And is nominated like 8 or 9 fucking different times for whatever reason.
That's some bullshit. That it's like gotten
over,
that
you know,
much more.
over, you know, Barbie.
Yeah.
You know, who only has one. And,
comparatively,
yeah.
like, again, like, Barbie isn't even the most amazing thing. Even though I liked it a lot, it's just like compared to that, it's just like I don't even like trust that like most of these people pay attention to what they're watching. It's just like, oh yeah, that makes sense. To just like, I mean, like considering their history with like animated movies, and it's just like, oh, just the most popular ones, and then maybe one indie one.
Yeah,
It's like they have to pick like now. It seems like they pick like what's important movies, or just like either some historical nonfiction like Napoleon or Maestro or whatever.
Surprised that wasn't nominated.
Yeah, no, I was surprised that wasn't nominated. Did it get nominated for anything at all, or
maybe other things, but definitely not Best Picture.
But yeah, it's like it's almost like Barbie was like at the bottom of their consideration list, because it's just like it's not some serious drama or like some historical like character study movie.
I mean, yeah, because looking at this list now, now that you say that, like 3 of these movies are like historical, like based on like real events, like Killers of the Flower Moon, Maestro, and Oppenheimer.
Which was boring. Killers of the Flower Moon was very boring.
I wouldn't say it was boring, but
no,
okay, we'll get to that in a little bit, I'm sure. But
it was way too
boring. I guess it's cool. Got Best Picture and Ryan Gosling, but I think it should have gotten at least Greta Gerwig for Best Director. But yeah, I don't think it'll win, but I liked it. It was a good movie.
But yeah, next on the list is The Holdovers, which I've been hearing a lot of good things about. I've been kind of mixed about whether, I mean, I'm more likely going to see it now than before because of the like not only Oscar attention but the general like reception that it's gotten. I do really want to see Past Lives and Poor Things and Zone of Interest more, but yeah, the like Killers of a Flower Moon, I don't know when I'll get around to that one. I still got to catch up on my like Scorsese, and again just like people really mixed about like the way he just like kind of like, I know like filmmaking is no like small feat, but it's just like every movie he's made like recently just seems to meet 3 hours, and I feel like it's just like what he's comfortable with, and I don't know if that's always like justified.
Yeah, no, especially given his history. I don't really think he predominantly made really long movies. I guess the first one I can think of off the top of my head is like Wolf of Wall Street. I know that's 3 hours, but I think that was like the first one he made that was that long. So I'm trying to think. I think Goodfellas was only like 2.5. Most of his other movies are only like 2 hours and maybe a little bit after, like a couple minutes.
Isn't like Casino
2 hours, 5
3 hours?
I think Casino. I don't think it is 3 hours, but I think it's like 2 hours 50 minutes or something like that.
Yeah, he's always always super close to 3 hours if he's not straight up 3 hours.
But no, I think I am the only one who's seen The Holdovers out of here. You haven't seen it?
I haven't seen it. I've seen Poor Things though.
I really liked it. What drew me in was Paul Giamatti. I'm actually very surprised he didn't get nominated for Best Actor, or at least a nomination. Everyone was good. I thought it was really, really, really great. I think the 70s vibe helps it, but it's not too distracting. It really just seemed like they just filmed it like using like an old camera, honestly. And it, like I said, it looks great, and they have it in like that kind of old school like aspect ratio too. So it's all looks very genuine, and like I said, it doesn't look cheesy or fake. I think it really does help not only for the setting of the movie, but just the look of it as well. Just all because it's set in the 70s, obviously. And it kind of helps with the whole aesthetic, like all the clothes that they're wearing and the styles of the cars and all this stuff. And yeah, that was pretty solid. Yeah, like I said, surprised Paul Giamatti didn't really get nominated for anything with that. But yeah, it's pretty good. Check it out. Good Christmas movie too. This next one I think only me and Hunter have seen. It's Killers of the Flower Moon, like you were saying. It's Martin Scorsese, Leonardo DiCaprio, Robert De Niro. I wouldn't say it was boring, but that shit did not need to be. I don't even think it was just 3 hours. It was like 3.5 hours. I'm pretty sure.
It was really long.
Yeah,
like 3:20. I think.
It did not need to be that long for like any reason.
It's weird. It reminded me of Quentin Tarantino's. It's just like his newer movie.
Once Upon a Time.
Yeah, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
There's entertaining scenes and like great shots, but like the story itself is pretty fucking boring. Like it just kind of like like dick around and like I guess I don't know.
It's like I don't know. To me, it's like the initial setup and kind of what he's doing and how he gets in with these Native American girls. Because it's about like Leonardo DiCaprio's character. He comes back from war. It's like 16 or 17. So it's like pre World War II, and it's based, like I said earlier, it's based off a true story. These Indians found a bunch of oil on their land, and now they're really rich, and all these white people come in to try to integrate into their families and get their inheritance basically. And that's kind of basically like the scheme they're cooking up here. And I don't know, they just take too long to do everything. Like I get that he was trying to, I don't know, put some like big importance on these Native Americans and kind of the lengths these guys, because it was kind of crazy like what these guys do to try to get these people's money.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like, damn. And if you look it up and you look into it, like this shit was real. Like these people did these like convoluted awful things just to try to get this oil money. It's crazy. But there's just at certain points you're just like, okay, can we get going somewhere else, or are we just gonna do this for like an hour?
I remember it got kind of interesting because there's like a point where like in the beginning he goes out with like some friends on the town, and they go to like a card game and like rob it, and it was like they don't really do anything like that again. Like he doesn't do anything in his free time besides just wake up and then try to like screw over his wife. Like that's pretty much all he does.
Yeah, and I like his character, and Leonardo DiCaprio was good in it. Same thing with Robert De Niro. I think he was probably the best out of all the cast. Also, the lady, I can't remember her name off the top of my head, but who played the main Native American woman, she also, I think, did a really good job. But it's kind of other than that, like, I do kind of agree with Hunter. Like, I don't think it's completely boring, but there's just some parts that really just kind of drag, and they're just kind of like, oh, they're just not really going anywhere, and they're still just trying to do the same thing.
It also felt like he didn't know how to end it. Like, and he does like the 2010s like kind of just like dance thing at the end. Yeah,
I mean, it's kind of not like really that. Like not like in that, like a Shrek like, kind of way, but more in like I don't know. It's kind of like any of those movies you see that are based off of true stories, where everyone at the end kind of gets together and the conflict's resolved and they're all just like happy, and then it's like, fucking Rose, whatever, went on to open a McDonald's and sell
they just do
chicken. I don't know.
They do. I don't know what it's called. They just block it into a paragraph. They're like, this guy went on to do this, and this guy went on to do this, and he died in 1964 or something.
Yeah, he's a fucking loser.
And it just doesn't. Like, I'm like, well, why don't you just show me that part? Like, kind of just like show, like they just wrap it up in this little paragraph at the end, and then it's kind of it.
Yeah,
I feel like if they had done that at that point, it would have just like fallen in line with like it's just too long. Like
yeah.
And either way,
but like it's just like you could take out chunks of this movie, and I feel like nothing would be affected by it. Like it's not like like his last 3-hour movie was The Irishman.
Mm-hmm.
Like I feel like The Irishman, it's kind of like, oh, why is it 3 hours? But then again, there's not really anything I feel like you could cut out to make it less, or to make it shorter, excuse me. There's nothing you can take out to make it shorter. But like this one, Killers of the Flower Moon, I feel like there's like big chunks where you can just cut it out and it wouldn't affect the movie like whatsoever. Not really. Because it's a lot of just them doing kind of the same things. And I get this happened in real life, but there's only so many times I can really get shown him trying to screw these people over and still kind of be invested in it, because they just take so long to do everything.
It's basically like he took a novel he really liked and just put a huge budget into it and was like, let's just make a movie of it, but like
not cut anything out.
There's not really like the novel itself isn't worth the length of the movie, and it's just like, just go read the novel.
The way you're describing it, it's reminding, I think the newest Scorsese movie I've seen is Silence, and that falls in line with a lot of what you guys are saying, where it's like it's undoubtedly like interesting and I like what it's saying, and there's still like scenes that really stick out to me. But I just remember when I watched it, like it feels like you're kind of getting just like so much. I'm not sure if I want to say like unnecessary detail, but just like it feels like you're on that horrible like journey that the main character is in, being a missionary, and like just it helps and hinders the movie the way you're able to like kind of soak in all the like quiet, like not so exciting moments, and when it is good, it's not particularly like action packed or anything or like violent. It's just it does feel just as like tedious as it would have been in real life to experience, and it's just kind of like that's kind of the one thing that keeps me from like wanting to go back to rewatch it. And like on this the previous few episodes, like we talked about Burning, and that's also like an extremely slow-paced movie that I wouldn't blame anyone for not enjoying. But I mean, they're really hit or miss, and like if the story like resonates with you like so personally, then it does a lot to help, because it does eventually fall onto the filmmaker. Like sometimes you just do it wrong, and I'd like to see how this one plays out for myself.
Yeah, but I feel like with Burning, it's like a slow build, kind of like a roller coaster, like a slow build up, wind up to a big kind of crescendo, which is kind of the ending of that movie. But I feel like Killers of the Flower Moon, it's just like doing a bunch of stuff, but kind of not all of it is super important, but it's more just to kind of draft the plot, I feel like. And I'm trying not to say any details for like spoilers, but
I was gonna say it's like
there's like certain parts of the movie that are really good, and like, oh shit, can't believe they did that, like that's crazy, and how manipulative and like insane is that at the time that they could get away with that. Like that guy befriending the Native American guy, who was what was it for? Oh, he was married to, or he was one of the sisters of his husband, or he was the brother of the
previously
wife.
married, and basically he was still an heir to this fortune.
Yeah,
so he
yeah,
was like
yeah.
Another person they needed to get rid of.
Yeah, and that was really interesting in how they did that. But I feel like the whole last like hour and a half, like the Leonardo DiCaprio, his wife, like she was sick, like for that last like hour and a half, and just him kind of, I like, and this is throughout the movie, him kind of doubting this plan, and him not kind of being like fully into this. Like he'll do it and he does it, but he's not really like, it's kind of not something I want to do. But he just does that kind of the whole movie and then doesn't really do anything about it. And I'm not saying that he had to be like this heroic hero, but it's just like, I don't know how many times I can just watch kind of them doing the same things to all these women and men and still be kind of interested. Like I say, like with Burning, or like kind of what you were talking about with that movie, they're on a journey or something like that. But it feels like in Killers of the Flower Moon, they just kind of do the same couple of things, and it's just doing one thing for the entire movie, but they do it really slowly.
It's presented in like a really authentic way. Like, yeah, that's like probably how it happened. There is no like big like a vengeance to their behavior. It's just like what happens, but it's like it's not made for entertainment. Like,
and that's why I agreed. That's why I agreed with what you said earlier. Like, it's more of just like a colorful, high budget presentation of what happened. But at that point, why would you watch the movie? We could just go read the book. Why not just read a book at that point? You know?
Yeah.
Or it could
yeah, that's kind of how I feel. Like, it's interesting. There's good elements about it. It's just
could also
it's
just
not
been
very
like
entertaining.
A history channel special.
Yeah.
Like, it didn't need to be like a full theatrical movie.
Yeah, especially 3 fucking hours, man.
I have nothing to say about Maestro because I literally didn't even know it existed. I saw that one clip of Bradley Cooper like conducting, and I was like, "Oh, that looks cool," and I should watch it because I like Bradley Cooper. But that's like all I have to say.
Yeah.
But I mean, yeah. Like I said earlier, I didn't really even know this shit existed until they got nominated for an Oscar.
Yeah.
Next is Oppenheimer, and we've also all seen that. And out of all of them, I think this probably has. I know I haven't seen half of these other movies, but I think I'm pretty confident in saying Oppenheimer's probably gonna win, or the most likely to win. I would say
because it has the popularity and the like. It's serious enough to.
Dude, I think at this point these guys are just like. These guys must have. They're just like Futurama heads in jars or something. Like, they gotta be right for all these fucking like history movies and all these like, just I don't know, just old people movies just get nominated.
It's not always about like filmmaking. It's just like what's the most serious looking movie, and then also the popular movies, so that we can actually get people to watch this.
What I always think of when I see these movies and these nominations it was like, what was it, 2015 or 16? It was like The King's Speech, and that won like Best Picture. Mm-hmm. Like nobody saw that, and nobody really cared.
I think it was 2010.
It was 2010. It was a while ago. But I remember specifically people kind of, at least on the internet, being kind of in arms about when that happened. Because it was just another one of those like history boring ass fucking movies with like 10 Hollywood stars in it.
Yeah, and we were talking about that. Yeah, Oppenheimer does feel a lot like Killers of the Flower Moon. It's like the only difference is Oppenheimer like had a way more impactful like historical event.
Well, I would say it's also more stylized. You can definitely see Christopher Nolan puts his kind of vision into it, and it's not just presenting facts. I mean, it presents them both in colored and in black and white, and that's kind of supposed to represent like facts and kind of loose fiction. Well, things that did happen opposed to things that we kind of know maybe happened, just don't know the details on it.
Oppenheimer's definitely like prettier and like more interesting, but just like also runtime. I feel like there's parts that you could have cut from Oppenheimer, especially his like love interest Florence Pugh, like that was really really uninteresting.
No,
I didn't really care for it. It's like cared more about how like what he did affected him. It's just like in the grand scheme, how important is this like one girl over like he literally like.
Well, I think it's supposed to kind of represent, because I feel like a lot of scientists or anybody in a high academic kind of sense always kind of doubts the government or is kind of anti-government, and I feel like that's kind of. Her being there, I feel like it's kind of a representation of that. His, like, I guess not rebellious, but, like, just this kind of anti-government, kind of anti-mainstream-esque, like, viewpoint. And then once he starts going to these universities and gets involved in the army and kind of gets consumed by that kind of, like, the only thing tethering him to that side of himself, And that's what I mean. Like, there's more symbolism and themes and things that kind of mean a little more, and a little more to kind of sink your teeth into than I think like Killers of the Flower Moon.
I think Oppenheimer's still better, but I just think there's stuff that could have cut, especially like the Marvel moment, like who's this guy? Like,
we've talked about this before, I think, or maybe not.
It's like they do this point where it's like at the end, he's like, some guy named JFK. Like it's just like, okay, dude.
And I mean, we've talked about that before. I don't know if we've talked about that like while we're recording, but. I don't know if that's, like, how intentional he had it in, because I know we've had friends who, like, I thought that moment with, like, Albert Einstein, when he walks up to him and his hat flies off, and he turns around and he's like, oh, it's Albert Einstein, and people were, like, kind of making fun of it, like, it's supposed to be fucking, like, Iron Man or Captain America or some shit.
Yeah, because
and we've talked about it before, I don't know if that's just...
Marvel brain rot? Like, that's just what we're expecting, or how we were just kind of like forced to view it versus like in the script it's like, well, I mean that's kind of just kind of a fact.
Yeah, it's kind of how it's written.
And that JFK moment feels closer to a Marvel.
See that's what I said over the Einstein
scene.
Thing. Like, yeah,
Einstein had a good integration. I do like the way it adds to Robert Downey Jr.'s character, and like I felt like that was more integral to. Its overall message than just like, oh, by the way, JFK
says hi or something.
Yeah.
I literally can't even remember why that reference. But like the Albert Einstein thing like works a little bit more because like he's kind of important to the whole story, and then even at the end, like when he's in court, like he's like, that bastard Albert Einstein, like he never liked me.
I'm just glad we were able to see the meeting of two great rappers. Albert Einstein and
Oh yeah. It's an epic rap battles reference.
You didn't think they'd just know that?
No.
We have 7 viewers and they're all our parents.
Yeah. No. I just thought there was just more to Oppenheimer. I think, like I said, I think it'll probably win out of all these movies that I've seen. Again, I haven't seen most of them, but I think Oppenheimer is like a good solid show. I wouldn't even mind locking that shit in right now, being like, yeah, I think that's probably what's gonna win.
Yeah, it has.
And I mean, that's the other thing I think with it, opposed to like Killers of the Flower Moon. I feel like Robert De Niro, Leonardo DiCaprio, and the Native American woman were like the only 3 actors in it, or at least the only 3 important ones. Like I feel like Oppenheimer is just more of an ensemble. Like they just have more actors doing more things that are a little more interesting.
Oh, they got that guy from The Boys too.
Yeah. Oh
He's
yeah.
in it for, like, and they got Roderick.
And Roderick. Roderick Rules.
Josh Peck. Too.
I'll never forget that clip of someone asked him while they were promoting the movie. They're like, "Oh yeah, do you know like this actor that you hired? You know, he was in the Diary of a Wimpy Kid." And he was like, "Yeah, Roderick rules." Like that clip is just lives in my brain. And I just think about it every so often because I just think it's really funny to hear Christopher Nolan just be like, yeah, Roderick rules. Like, he knew what that was and just immediately was like, yeah.
That's awesome. But I don't think it deserves to win, honestly.
You don't think so?
It will win, but like it's very predictable. But there's other movies that I personally wish would win that I am more interested in. Granted, I haven't seen all of them, but I feel like there's got to be some other movies here that are more interesting because I'm just not that super interested in Oppenheimer.
And maybe it's just my innate interest in history and stuff, especially that era. The early, or just the entire, honestly, 20th century is, like, to me, the most interesting point in American history because we go from literally, like, barely inventing, like, cars in, like, the early 1900s, skip to 100 years later and we have, like, phones and, like speakers. I don't know, like just the shit that we just did not have like at all, and like it's like the most technological jump that you can make in like 100 years, and it's really interesting to see like Victorian like 1800s era to like modern technology.
Yeah, I wasn't too crazy about it, and like it wasn't. I just kind of like struggle with like true story movies, and this one I do give a lot more credit than like most of them because of its stylization, and like it tries really hard to make the planning from scene to scene and like dialogue just a lot more like engaging with the score and the visualization of like how they represent a bunch of like atoms and chemicals coming together, and like it has a lot going for it, but it's just I'm definitely like comfortable admitting that I'm just a lot of it just like went over my head and there's only so much that I can like really attach myself to when it is like a bunch of scientific jargon, and I don't blame anyone who says it's like Christopher Nolan's best work. I do think it
you know, me and Hunter just both looked at each other and like shook our heads.
No, just like in general, like, you know, people say it's just kind of nice to get like a grounded Christopher Nolan movie that isn't like drowned out.
Especially because and I'm thinking about it, especially after Tenet.
Yeah,
and
where that jargon, that doesn't even mean anything.
yeah, because at least Oppenheimer is somewhat based in fact. Like Tenet is completely like made up. Yeah, you know, and
it barely makes sense, and it's just like, well,
granted, I saw that movie on drugs, but I mean, even then, you know, I feel like that didn't even enhance the movie. Like even me watching it inebriated like I did. I feel like I got honestly less enjoyment because again, like Oppenheimer, you can like, oh, okay, atoms, and you know everyone generally knows, well, when you split an atom, that the atomic bomb, and that's what they're trying to do. But like Tenet, it's like, okay, how did this work again? Why is he? And how did he loop back to where he was like 5 days ago? How did he come back? Is this like time traveling?
That entire
but it's not really time traveling. It's like
they also do a Marvel moment in that movie. I just remember because he's like I'm the protagonist, and like
like at the very end
because they don't give him a name the whole movie. Like even if you look into like the cast, he's just called the protagonist.
But that's also what I kind of like, and you know people like. it's gonna be so annoying, but like that's kind of the main reason why I liked Tenet more, purely because Christopher Nolan is in the sandbox and he is playing with his toys, and he is getting at the bare minimum. Like the main character is essentially called the main character. That's his full name. and like he's
last name
purely just like, you know,
first name the
focusing on like the sci-fi premise, and like, and there's kind of like this safety blanket kind of feeling I get whenever I do watch a movie that's just like complete incomprehension kind of storyline, or like I think a much better example of like what I'm trying to describe is David Cronenberg's Naked Lunch, because that whole movie the main character is on drugs, so there's kind of like this idea where it's like, oh, if I don't get it, he's just on drugs, you know. So there's kind of a lot more like room for interpretability and like what it means versus hard facts that I just I just don't understand.
Yeah,
and it's just like anything I could think of is just going to be wrong.
I guess I'd rather have something rooted in at least some science, and
yeah, it's purely like
I don't know, if you make something up,
yeah.
If you make something up and you explain it, it just still doesn't make any sense. I think you need to kind of rethink what you're making up, you know? Like, if you can't properly explain it to somebody, maybe you need to, like, change some shit about it.
I care less about that. I don't care if it makes, like, logical sense to me. I just care more about, like, if it's engaging to me, and just historical stuff is not it for me. Like, I as a viewer,
I guess it's just a difference. Like I said, like, you know, I just haven't any interest in history, so.
No, I as a viewer personally, like, I have to be like more emotionally invested to like care. Like, I could, you know, watch a superhero movie, but if I don't really care about the hero, then I'm not really gonna care what happens to him.
Yeah.
Or what he does, or if it even makes sense. Like, I care less about like what they're doing, and like more like why they're doing it, and like their character. And I think that's why I like fiction more, just because it's like you can literally use the art world to like express anything and like any character you want to create. But then when they do something like historical, it's like I just don't have as much stock in it. Like, I don't really like have any emotional investment in Oppenheimer. I don't really care about his character.
I will give that to Oppenheimer too. Like, I do feel like he does have a strong like arc, and like you understand how he wound up doing the things he did, and was like struggling with like the regret, and how like things spiral out of control from like discovery to like the weaponization of it. And like, again, like there's a lot to think about, much like I said about Silence, where it's like I was definitely still thinking about it after it was over. It was more so just like sitting through it was the main thing, where it's just like I don't know when I would rewatch it, but it does leave a lot to chew on. And I feel like people who do say it's like, you know, the best movie of 2023 or of Christopher Nolan's career, I that's why I hear that, and like there's a lot of validity to it, even though like, yeah, I didn't get much out of it. It's definitely not like, you know, like I'm literally explaining like why I'm not smarter than anyone for just like not agreeing with the popular consensus. It's just like it didn't work out for me.
Yeah, you didn't understand Oppenheimer, man. You didn't learn how to split the atom from that. Idiot, fool.
No, I'm not gonna even lie. I like Barbie more.
Damn.
Like, honestly, they were talking about the Barbenheimer thing. I got way more enjoy out of the Barbenheimer thing because we watched Oppenheimer first and then Barbie.
Yeah, I definitely say if you do the, like, if you obviously can't watch it in the theater now, but if you watch it, you know, at home, I would recommend watching Oppenheimer first and then Barbie, because I feel like going from like a serious dark, I don't even want to say dark, it's just the way you filmed it was kind of dark, but like serious movie to like fucking Barbie, it's such like a, oh shit, I feel like it actually makes you kind of enjoy Barbie more, because you just came from this kind of dark, kind of gloomy mood, because there's a lot of, because they don't show him killing or them dropping the bomb, but like they mention it a lot, and how guilty he feels, and like how much some other people don't give a fuck that they did it. So that's a little depressing, and then go from kind of that to, hey Ken, you know, fucking pink, bright, fucking.
Well, what was kind of refreshing was not just it's a happy movie, but like wasn't just like a dumb kind of happy. It's
so much more energy.
Yeah.
It was weirdly serious too. Like there was
especially close to the end.
Like existential. Like what am I doing with my life instead of being like a complacent Barbie.
Yeah. But it's like a nice kind of like I feel like whereas and I guess this is why the whole Barbenheimer thing started. Oppenheimer is more like cynical and kind of again more dark and serious. When Barbie, it does get kind of existential, like Hunter said, but it's more soft kind of about it. And it's more like hopeful and like nice. Has anybody seen Past Lives? Nobody.
No, but I mean South Korea cooks, so like.
Yeah, and I've seen and heard a lot of good things about it.
It is South Korean, right?
Yeah.
Oh wait, no, I've seen Poor Things. I'm the only one who's seen Poor Things. Emma Stone's naked in it a whole bunch. Just letting you know now.
Sold.
Sold. Whoa.
But,
yippee!
It's really creative, but I actually feel like it has like why it's probably not gonna win much, if anything at all, is it's got like a little bit of everything we've talked about, but nothing like super strong. Like it's got good direction. There's good actors. There's a big cast. It's not too long, but there's nothing about it that's like really like hits home. It's just like a Frankenstein adventure movie. That's pretty much.
Yeah, out of this list, it's the one I'm the most excited for because I have seen other Yorgos Lanthimos movies.
I was about to say, isn't this Yorgos Lanthimos? I've only seen I think The Lobster.
Yeah, I've seen
from him.
I've seen The Lobster and Dogtooth, which are very funny back to back because like Dogtooth is like just extremely quiet and disturbing, and The Lobster is disturbing and hilarious. They're both completely like different like beasts, and
Shit, dude, have you seen that movie? Have you seen The Lobster, Hunter?
You showed me The Lobster.
Okay,
yeah,
I thought so. Man,
like
that's a really good movie. I just remembering right now off the top of my head because it balances that so well. That kind of because they're in a horrible situation. I don't know if you guys have never seen The Lobster. This guy has to fall in love at a certain point, or a lot of humans do just in general in this world. And if you don't fall in love by a certain date, you get turned into an animal. But they're nice enough, I guess, to let you choose what animal you get turned into. And he chooses a lobster.
Yorgos Lanthimos.
And this kind of serious, like, I will literally be murdered and turned into an animal if I don't do this. But then him just kind of the reflection of him actually trying to fall in love with these women in this kind of situation that he's in is pretty funny. And that's not Joaquin, is it?
No, it's Colin Farrell.
Colin Farrell, yes, he's great. He is amazing in that role.
That's what I love most in like some of my favorite movies. They're like taking really common human struggles or like social like interactions and like upping the ridiculousness to where it is like funny for a movie, but then like you think about it for a second and it's like, oh, we just kind of do this like often.
Yeah, this is what would happen.
Yeah, and it's like visually explaining those kind of things. That's like, why is it so hard for people to like do these certain things versus like other people who like slip into it very easily. And Poor Things looks like his most like ambitious especially like since it's a sci-fi. I just love that kind of setting. I feel like a lot of directors recently have been given the chance to make their like epic art house movies where it's like sometimes they usually don't pay off like financially, but like Charlie Kaufman with I'm Thinking of Ending Things, and then Ari Aster with Beau is Afraid. It's like these huge like cerebral larger than they've ever done kind of scale. And I just love those kinds of voices so much, and it's nice to see them getting the chance to make these crazy projects.
You'll like Poor Things a lot. Then it's also disturbing and funny, but I won't lie, it is less on like the sci-fi than I feel like the trailer gave off. Like this is a sci-fi world, but it's kind of like a backdrop.
I guess more so like compared to The Favorite, where it's like like way less grounded. I guess more so.
I've only really seen like the brief trailer, and I always see that picture of like Willem Dafoe.
Yeah.
His like fucked up face. Like I think he looks really cool.
Without giving
cool
too much
that.
away, she's basically just Frankenstein. She's like a Frankenstein monster kind of, but she's like innocent. It's almost like she's been factory reset.
Mm-hmm.
But she's in an adult woman's body, and her brain like develops like really quickly, so she can make her own decisions.
Mm-hmm.
Like, but like then she doesn't know like what like a croissant is called. Like she doesn't know like the way to be like in public.
It sounds kind of Edward Scissorhands.
Yeah, and like Mark Ruffalo gets onto her a lot, like about like the way because she'll like the way she eats like a 6-year-old, like with like her hands and just says whatever rude thing pops into her head. But it was really entertaining. I'd probably watch it again, but it's like it's not like amazing. Like I think there's other movies on the list that would probably outdo it, maybe, but it's still pretty good.
You say this is probably your pick personally to win, or the movie you would want to win?
The movie I want to win, I can't say because I haven't seen all of these, but like for out of the ones I have,
seen,
Barbie.
Barbie, damn, really?
I just really like Barbie. It's really good.
Now, out of all those, honestly, like again, haven't seen half of them, but out of all of them, I think that's probably the least likely to win. Not gonna lie.
No, it probably won't. But like that's the one I would like to win.
Okay, all right. And I don't think anyone has seen Zone of Interest either.
But I do like Jonathan Glazer a lot, and yeah, I really respect him. Like he seems to like he has these huge gaps in between his movies, but like when they come out, they're just like super unique. And yeah, this one looks very interesting. Heard a lot of things about like how like the whole movie is about like its main theme is like not showing the atrocities of the time period that it's set in, but it still like sinks in so much more because of the normality going on from like day to day. And it sounds very much like Todd Solondz's like Happiness, where it's like they don't show the horrible things that go down, but you still are like just viscerally disgusted by like what's actually happening. And having this disturbing spotlight set on like the most private moments of people's lives and like what they do from day to day, that's like much more common than like we'd like to admit. And it's just like, yeah, so Zone of Interest is probably like my second most anticipated out of that list.
All right, well for you, out of the ones you've seen, which one do you think, or you would want to win, or you think is gonna win, or
out of the ones that I've seen, I think the one that has it in the bag is Oppenheimer.
Yeah.
Like, and it has less to do with like my preference. I mean, because I would like to see all of these before I could say which one I would want to win.
Yeah.
But I feel like considering Oppenheimer's status and the fact that you can look at it as like an old like Oscar,
Oscar bait.
Yeah. you can view it through that lens, and also through like how how much it connected with wide audiences. I feel like it kind of has both sides of that coin, and like broad appeal while also being kind of seen as like a stereotypical like smart Oscar movie, quote unquote. Yeah, I think that one's just like bound to win.
Yeah. Like I kind of said earlier, that's probably the one I think is gonna win. Out of the ones I've seen, I probably prefer the Holdovers out of all of those. But then again, I haven't seen half these movies. But yeah, I agree. Like Oppenheimer probably is gonna win this. I don't think it's a matter of watching the rest of the movies. It's just kind of predicting how these old guys in head jars, think. Yeah, I'm betting money on Oppenheimer.
Well, that's the whole list.
Okay, well, I think unless you guys had something else for the Oscars, that's kind of end for Oscar talk.
Yeah, we can move to the next thing.
Kind of one of the only things on my mind lately, unfortunately, been on my mind the last couple of weeks. Can't seem to even really get away from it. New Kanye. Y'all hear what Kanye's been cooking up? In his little shack somewhere, wherever the fuck he's cooking this shit at? Because I guess he's cooking it in like some warehouse in like fucking like Dubai, because this motherfucker's like dressed up all in black and these weird backgrounds, that album cover with his wife.
It really goes with like the album, because Like this is what I decided about this album. It sounds like an angry teenager who's like kind of just butthurt about like Kim Kardashian. like he literally has a song on there called, like, I think it's just called "Beg for Forgiveness."
Yeah.
And like that sounds very directed at Kim Kardashian. Like it's just like, yeah, you should hang your head in shame for. Like,
I mean, it's a lot of,
stuff.
and I mean, this is not even out of Kanye's like repertoire. Like this is not something he doesn't do. It's a lot of whining, I feel like, and a lot of boasting, being like, "Oh yeah, I'm so cool. See, I got away with all this shit. That makes me cool." And I mean, I kind of agree with the. I don't know if you know who Anthony Fantano is.
Yeah.
But very popular music reviewer. I kind of agree with what he said. You know, it's hard to keep these like politics and all the shit that he says out of separate from his music when it's, you know, in his music. And man, I can't, like I said earlier, I can't seem to. I got a lot of friends who are into this album, and I see it a lot on Instagram. But it's crazy to see all this shit about him. But he still gets, you know, what was it, #1 in like 20 different fucking countries. #1 in the United States and all this other shit that he's still this extremely popular. This is Vultures. I don't know. I guess no one's aware. Kanye West released a new album called Vultures with Ty Dolla $ign, who I don't really like at all. And this is in, you know, after all his, you know, anti-Semitic shit that he's been saying and all the other. Because I don't know. I feel like even classic Kanye, when he was bugging or doing stupid shit, it was just stupid shit, right? Just being like, oh, you know, that Taylor Swift thing at the whatever awards,
and he was
like
just
10
like
years
kind
ago.
of rude.
It was just kind of rude. Yeah, just kind of rude. But like, I guess I get where he's coming from. Just kind of angry about this one thing, and he'll just like yell about it. But now I think it's getting to the point where, like, kind of like you said, Daniel, it's just like hateful. And like this conspiratory, I don't know, crazed kind of thinking. It's so odd to see so many, not only just regular people, but like celebrities fall kind of to this way of thinking. I don't really know. Like, dude, 10 years ago we were making fun of these conspiracy people.
Mm-hmm.
Like we people like these are like tinfoil hat alien people. Like these is literally what people on the internet would get made fun of for. Or get chastised for, or like get memed about, or whatever. But now, you got people in fucking Congress, or Kanye West on national television, or on Alex Jones, like millions of viewed show, saying that he likes Hitler and that like the Jews run like everything, or just crazy shit like that.
So the thing that
and it's hard again. It's hard not to talk about this stuff when we're talking about the album, because he literally calls himself anti-Semitic in one of his songs.
Yeah.
And I've heard the argument from different people that, oh, well, no, he's saying that, like, other people were calling him anti-Semitic or calling him this or that, but I don't know, man. When it's not only in this song and it's in the other Vulture song, how can I be anti-Semitic when I fucked a Jewish bitch? Or it's just bars like that where you're just like, really?
So,
like, I get that he likes to be pompous, right? And I get that he's always been the type of rapper to be not negligent, but just kind of bypass what people say about him. You know, just kind of put it to the side and just be like, nah, you know, I'm whatever. But something like this, when it's different when it's like, oh, you're just an asshole, or I don't know, people think you like fucking raisins and you don't like raisins or something. It's different when it's something inconsequential like that. Opposed to, you know, literally saying, like, Jews run the world and, like, disparaging them at every chance you get and praising, like, the person who wanted to kill all of them, you know, fucking Hitler.
Mm-hmm.
So...
And again, it's hard not to talk about this stuff because it's all over the album. And I'm not like most people or, like, a lot of the reviewers. Like, I don't think it's trash. But... I don't think
like
it's
on a
like,
listenable level.
Yeah, like beats and bars and stuff like that. I don't think it's trash, but
I was gonna say what doesn't help his case is like, he even says it, like, or he says like a lot of pompous stuff that's almost validating himself. Like he's validated by, you know, the fame and the money and being top of the charts. So he's like, it's like, you know, I'm controversial or people don't like me, but like I'm still the king. Like I think this is what he literally says in his last song on the album, King. And he's like, I've been labeled this, and that, and it's like he's not being an angry teen like in like your typical expression way. It's like he's being bitter about like things in his life, but not really like reflecting on it, like not really learning from it. He's just being he's just being a hater, like he's just being mad. Like this album is just him being a hater, right? Or just being like full of himself when he's really not all been that great. And it's like I miss his other stuff, like where he was like a lot more reflective or appreciative of the things he's been given. You know, especially stuff with like Life of Pablo or like Champion. It seemed like he was really like grateful, like to God that he made it. And it's funny because he's known for like mentioning God a lot. I don't think he mentions him at all on this.
I mean, he calls himself Jesus, but other than that,
well, I was gonna ask, is this the first time he's sworn like in a while?
Kind of, sort of. I guess just since his last album. It's just his last album was titled after his mother, and his mom didn't like him swearing. So,
and before that, it was Jesus is King, which makes sense. But like
Jesus King is yeah. So yeah, I guess so. Yeah.
Yeah, I could imagine.
And this is more of like, I guess, like a joint album because it's him and Ty Dolla $ign, and him and Ty Dolla $ign are on every song, and they produced every song.
But it does seem like some bitter stuff about his personal life, like Kim and probably his mom.
Yeah, and it's not. I guess that's what the thing is. It's not reflection, because I feel like even if you're not talking about classic Kanye, even like Life of Pablo and stuff like that, it's all more reflection. It's all more like, where are my real friends? I'm like,
that's what I was saying. Like, it doesn't feel reflective. It just feels like he's just being mad.
And being like, yeah, and I got away with it. Yeah, kind of. And it's like, and it sucks that he's still so popular. I'm not like, praising for his downfall or like anything like that, but it's just funny that he's just kind of right. He can kind of get away with this because, yeah, being number one in 20 different countries, and making all this money and fucking do that to you. It's basically validation. And him getting that Adidas sponsorship back, or I don't know if he got it back, but I know he was talking to the Adidas CEO again. But that's the thing, he didn't like make that happen. They realized, we won't lose money by working with him. Fuck it, we'll do it. Because it doesn't matter if he's anti-Semitic. It doesn't matter if he's just saying all this shit. To most companies or people, I guess, it only really matters if you make money or your people are just still okay with you.
It seems like he's just really trying to escape the norm. But it's like, being controversial doesn't mean that you're like, you're good. It doesn't mean we think you're a good artist. It means that because you're so controversial, 20 countries are going to listen to you. But I don't think a good majority of people are going and being like, oh yeah, this is like, God speak and he's Jesus. Like, yeah, I don't think.
Well, not yet, at least.
Like, I don't think people are praising him. Besides Kanye fans.
Shit, I'm about to say you should talk to some of the Kanye fans I fucking talk to.
Yeah, I said like hell. But yeah, we have a friend who praises Kanye very highly.
And again, to me, it's just. It's not only the hate speech, but it's also, like I said, I wouldn't say it was trash, but I'd say some of the tracks are kind of trash. not the album as a whole, I would say is trash, but like I'd say some of it is kind of It's
the worst part was just the bars, like.
Yeah, some of the bars are just kind of just trash. It's just kind of whack, and I see it more now that I kind of got off the topic of all the political crap that's in this goddamn album, but. Just also just the beats in the bars. I think it's more of a mixed bag, really. Like there's just some, like the one he has with his daughter on it. I think that's Paid. That one is not very good. No, and the way really she's like mixed in, like I like the hook. It's your bestie, Miss Westie. Like that sounds pretty good, and that's not too bad. But like I don't know, just the way it's in the song, the way they mix it, makes it kind of sound like shit. And even the one you were talking about earlier, I think that beat is just kind of and a lot of it may be due to Ty Dolla $ign. I've always thought Ty Dolla $ign was also kind of trash. Like I thought he was all right. He makes okay beats, kind of generic.
The other thing I think might be influencing him is like he is being angry because like I feel like when like Kanye like really gets like emotionally involved in his music, like he can like express himself really well, or like his vocals almost sound better. But when he's like, I'm all that rapping, like it doesn't sound good. He sounds like he's like being like arrogant and just kind of like.
I mean, not just, it's only because that's just rap. That's what you rap about. You rap about your clothes, the shit you get, the style you got. But I feel like for this specifically, it's more like a haha, I got away with. That's kind of how I feel. Haha, I got away with it. Like I'm still the king. I'm still on top. I'm still all this shit. I still get all this. But I'm an asshole and I'm a fucking racist. But like he's like celebrating that. Yeah. And that's just the thing I just don't really fuck with. Here's like, how are you gonna be like, oh, I'm not anti-Semitic, oh, I'm not this or that, oh, but I still make all this money and I'm still cool and I've still got all this shit. like really, like he doesn't put in anything introspective or anything to explain himself or anything to be.
And you think like going through everything he's gone through, like recently, like divorce doesn't like.
Or even on something like Ye, right? Because I feel like Ye era was around the time he started to go completely bonkers. Because that was that same year he made that tweet where he said that it was like slavery was like a choice.
Oh yeah. And basically like
and one of his songs, he mentions that slavery a choice, yay. Just imagine they caught me on a wild day, but like, yeah, but kind of like something similar he was saying on Vultures, but he eventually goes and raps and mentions how she was calling and she thought we were gonna lose it all, and he said you can leave me now, like some silver lining, like, yeah, I said that shit and I don't really care, but my wife was upset and she, I saw that as like, okay, she could leave me if she wanted to, that's something I had to accept, like something more than just haha I got away with her, haha like I get money, or haha fuck Jews or whatever.
Does he think he would have written something more like reflective or like just
like introspective or thought provoking?
Yeah, like it's just not like him to do all this like angry, like kind of a crybaby album. But like not like he's not like the type, because a lot of people who are pompous, they don't want to cry on the outside. So it's like, that's why I said like an angry teen. Like like on the surface he's like, you can't tell me what to do, man. But then like goes like to his room and like cries. Like that's how Kanye seems to come off right now to me.
Yeah, when it's
very immature.
It's kind of like a less, from the little I've heard of it, it's like a less honed in, passionate kind of anger. Because I've heard a lot of like, again, like you said before, like rap, it's a huge part of it is expressing anger, and like especially when it comes to politics and like venting about just like the injustices, and like you can tell whenever people get like really riled up about it and talk about police brutality and like the presidency and like all that, there's a passion that like makes it sound like, okay, I want people to properly like understand me, and like I want to express myself in like the most concise way while like packing in as much stuff as I can into the like this particular album. But in this case, when it is like you're just in that mindset of like yeah, I can just do whatever I want and everyone's gonna listen to it, then like of course you're gonna get like comfortable and like just kind of put out whatever you may or may not even believe in like sounds good. Like you don't care, you just think that yeah, I've already proven myself, it doesn't matter what I do now. Just like everything else like he does, he's just like making himself look like a massive jackass because he knows that if there's nothing more he can do, like, because I mean at the end of the day, like it is mostly just talk, right? And like he hasn't. I mean,
yeah, I guess so.
and I don't mean that in a way where it's like I'm excusing him. I'm the most detached out of us three, like as a Kanye viewer, like and listener. Like his best stuff is just like kind of like all right to me, and like there is merit to like his earlier stuff, but nowadays it just doesn't help with the kind of person he is. It just like At first I gave him like the benefit of the doubt of just like, oh, he just likes to prod people, like there's no way he can be in the position that he's in and like truly believe what he's saying. But nowadays he's just like, either he's in it for the long haul, just like messing with people because like he just doesn't care, or he's
it's like he started to like double down,
yeah,
like
off his rocker.
Yeah, like just on all the crazy shit he's gotten or thoughts that he's had, and then when people tell him or chastise him or the media does all this crap, just fucking double down. He just doubles down and just does it more. And I don't know if we'll really ever get to a point because he's at that point where there's just. He's got his legion of fans who are just dedicated to him no matter what he'll say. I'm sure he could go out in public and just straight up say, yeah, fuck the Jews or whatever, because hasn't said that. But, I mean,
as long as he keeps getting the record deals, getting the money.
Yeah, and as long as people keep buying his albums.
Slaps on the wrist.
Yeah, because people will still buy his albums, Fucking 20, number one in 20 fucking countries. I guess people just didn't give a shit too much. And, and that, to me, that's fine. If you want to enjoy what you want to enjoy and like a person you want to like, listen to music you want to like, that's fine and dandy. But me, personally, I just can't fuck with shit like that. I really can't. Again, I am one to say separate the art from the artist. I'll watch fucking Rosemary's Baby or fucking Chinatown.
Yeah, I was about to bring up Roman Polanski.
Really?
Specifically because this album has a lot of crossover with Chinatown in terms of like I'm gonna try and like spoil as little as possible, but like for anyone who doesn't know what Roman Polanski has done,
he's just
basically
a rapist.
That's a huge without knowing what Chinatown was about. When I saw that for the first time and realizing how much crossover there was with the main antagonist in that movie and his real life, what he wound up doing like later, it was crazy because I was just like, the point of that movie is what Roman Polanski essentially carried out himself. And that makes the movie, not only is the movie so well done already, but it makes it so much more haunting because if you watch it by itself, it's not like Luc Besson, and when he makes Leon the Professional, it's not like condoning it, like, I'm a cool pedophile. It's like, no, it's scary and it's horrible that people can just like do the most like heinous things in that position of power and get away with it. And what like Roman Polanski did is just like inexcusable. I wish he was like put away like a long time ago. Yeah. And that's the main difference between like this album and Chinatown in terms of how I can I enjoy one and not the other, and not because I separate the art from the artist, but because there's like an artistic purpose to it. That's not just like I can get away with anything. And
that's what I kind of mean. When
it's
like,
not just
I'll
like
still
pulling
watch
his pants
Chinatown,
down and
and
for
stuff.
the sake of shock value.
Yeah, because it's not something that's directly tied to him or something that he's directly staying like kind of like you said, like Leon the Professional. Like that's like a lot more creepy movie when you find out what
fan fiction like
basically his own like personal pedophile fan fiction. Yeah, almost. It's like that. Like I feel a lot less comfortable watching that movie now. I really do. It's a lot harder to watch it with something that's like you can see that's what he was doing. Like he was just living out his fantasy with that. Something integrated into it. And that's what I mean.
It's just kind of it's so much like weirder whenever it's like he's the. And it's also more just like the thought process of
especially
like,
if you see those interviews with Natalie Portman her talking about
those are horrible.
Yeah, her talking about her time on the set being like an 8-year-old girl.
Yeah, it's
like that.
It's not because it's like it's an outright like I've only seen it once, and what I remember, like I do remember a lot of good things about it. The biggest uncomfortable part about it is how much they had to change to make it as like not like glorifying of like a pedophile hero.
How much they had to change.
And like you can view it in a way where it's like the main character, he's just like a father figure, and Natalie Portman is more into him in an uncomfortable way than like he's allowing. But I just can't ignore like I've seen like and heard of the earlier drafts of the script and what they had to switch around because it's like that was his original idea. And that's
and that's what I mean. Once you insert it like that into the art, it is kind of hard to separate that art from the artist when the art is just that.
I mean, hey, Gary Oldman was good in it though.
I mean,
it's got stuff going for it. It's just like it's what it's overall.
And
trying
I'll
to
say this. I think Carnival, Paperwork, Hood Rat, and Stars are all pretty good songs. with some kind of bars at certain points in some of those songs, but yeah, I think overall just kind of agree with Hunter or just a lot of other reviewers. Just it's hard to listen to this with all the hate and shit, you know. It really is. And it's even worse that this even if you just take out all those anti-Semitic bars and all the shit that he was saying, you know, even the album just itself is pretty mixed. There's some trash fucking bars and beats, but there's some pretty good. There's some, like I said, Carnival and Stars, and there's some pretty good ones. Yeah, it's just the whole air of him right now, and the shit he puts on the album is just kind of ruins it, you know? Kind of ruins the little good that there is on this album.
I was just gonna say it's kind of like more just a statement album than like art. Kind of just him just saying a lot, and not really
but not really saying anything.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'd give it like a 5 and a 6 out of 10 maybe.
I give it like 4.
Damn. Because I don't know, it's not even shittily produced all the way through. Like I said, it's just, I guess maybe leaning toward more like a 5, because there's just, again, taking all the politics and all the crap that he says out, it's still like a mixed bag of like the speed is trash, why'd they make it like this, to oh shit, that one was pretty good. But like all the other stuff just kind of ruins the good stuff that's on it, you know.
Yeah, I just didn't want this in my history on like Spotify, so I'm mainly just like read a lot of the lyrics because that was what I was more interested in, and just going off of like that, and I never like followed Kanye that closely, so that's why it was more like it just kind of piqued my interest than like something I wanted to support. So I mean, I can't like rate it like, but yeah, just in terms of like what it represents is just really embarrassing like in any case. And yeah, he just doesn't care, and like there's nothing anyone can say to like really change that.
I mean, the only thing, kind of like a lot of things, you know, in our society, nothing's really going to change. Nothing's really going to affect them unless a large chunk of people do something about it. And
it's just some epiphany.
Yeah, and it's really just getting that amount of people to say something or just not buy the album or not support them. But I think people nowadays just don't really give a shit. Or maybe it's not even just that. Maybe it's just he is ascended to this point where just he's got enough people who's just completely dedicated to him that he will never fail no matter how much or no matter what he does.
I think that's
he's always got like a safety net.
It's not that people don't care about what he's saying, even though it does hold less and less weight as time goes on because of how just like just these like total nothing statements that he makes, you know. It's just it's pure hatred without like even like
really doing anything.
It's all talk, and like I wouldn't want him to do anything about it, but it's just like
let's hope he does it.
He's just a gigantic moron. And that's kind of where it like stops, and that's why people don't like complain as much as they used to. And then like, you know,
because I don't really get this view that he's not smart. Like, he's not this clever businessman, this guy who it's almost, he's kind of like, it's funny that I say this too, it's almost kind of like he's like Trump in a way. he just, it's all this pufferfish, like big hot air, and like he does one thing pretty good, which is make music, and just people support him the shit out of him. It's kind of like I said, it's kind of like Donald Trump, you know, he just knows what to say to the stupid people, and doesn't matter what else he does, those stupid people would just follow him religiously for, I guess, until America's done, or just the world ends, or whatever, just to the ends of the earth. And that's kind of how I see this Kanye shit, like, oh, he makes good music, so that lets me put my whole personality and dedication to this one guy no matter what he does. And maybe it is also just the era we're living in. I've talked about this with some friends. You know, especially nowadays, you can't just be a fan of something. You can't just like something casually. it's always the super fans. You gotta be a super fan. You gotta know everything. And if you don't know all this or know every album or the times or days that Kanye scratches his ass, you're a fucking fake fan. You don't know. You're so stupid, and they get make fun or whatever. Whatever it is. And maybe it's just a combination of all these things, and just it's the right time and the right place for him, and he's in this position to where he's kind of just bulletproof until people stop supporting him, and that's really just a thing. And I don't know if we'll ever get to a point where people will stop supporting him, because people obviously will just support him nonstop no matter what. So I don't know. I guess all I can really say is make better music. I don't know. Stop being a fucking racist. That's why I try not to get mad about shit like this.
Yeah.
Some people I see just get absolutely heated over it. Like, I see no point. There's nothing I can really do about it besides give my 1-2 cents. So
my only suggestion get Kanye out of this mindset. Yeah. He just needs to get off the internet, for maybe 5.
I don't know though, man. There's millions of people on the internet who aren't anti-Semitic. I don't know.
I feel like just in terms of the way he's presented himself, it is more just what will bring the most attention to me kind of thing. Yeah. That's part of it anyway. I mean, again, I genuinely don't know how serious he is, because if he is serious, he's just I
guess it's kind of hard to tell. I mean,
I just feel like it would help if he wasn't always in this what would bother people the most.
Yeah. Honestly, what he should just do is usually I wouldn't want him to do this, but I think he needs to take way more time on the next album.
Yeah.
And go to therapy.
No, you already said they already got what? Vultures 2 and 3 almost done?
It's probably not going to be good.
Yeah.
And go to therapy.
Go to therapy, yeah.
Go to therapy and take a long time before you make your next album.
Yeah.
That's what you should do.
Just do a beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy. Just isolate yourself for 2 years. Make an album. I think that would definitely help him. I don't know.
So yeah, I guess...
next, it's... bit convoluted. I'll explain it again, but obviously if you listen to the last couple episodes, you'll understand. Originally, we had Magnolia before the Kanye episode, but that ended up getting scrapped because the file got corrupted, and we just kind of didn't want to re-record when we already had recommended Kanye and already had that fresher on our minds. So this will be Hunter's recommendation. It was Magnolia, directed by Paul Thomas Anderson. Daniel will recommend a movie at the end and not me, because
that was
technically,
it started with me order. And then Hunter. And
we're just kind of talking about this now because like I said, the file kind of got corrupted last time. So
I can start because I watched it 4 times.
I mean, yeah.
This movie's awesome. Probably in my top 25. Honestly, it's really hard to give it anything less than a 10. Mm-hmm. All the acting is good, and it's interesting all the way through. Everybody's story was equally interesting, and just this movie is a weird mix of every genre in some kind of way. Mm-hmm. It can be really funny or really heartfelt or just really awful or disturbing, and I think this movie is just a really good commentary on just what real life is. So anybody who's feeling isolated or their life is tough, literally everybody is feeling the same way.
And I wouldn't even say not only in the situations these guys are put in, or the characters are put in, but also just how everything kind of does reflect each other, or everything kind of connects to one another in a way. I feel like that's a kind of reflective of real life too, just because you never know who's kind of dealing either with the same thing or dealing with something similar, or just so happens to be involved in whatever you're dealing with, just because they know this one person or they're connected to this one person. And I mean, that's the best part about that movie, and that kind of whole theme of the movie is this kind of universal spiritual kind of connection they all have somewhat with all each other, and how just kind of random strangers can be involved in your life and you don't even know it.
My favorite thing about this movie was I like how they don't do a typical I guess Disney kind of just regular like ending where they all meet each other and they're like, oh you're you.
Whoa,
and
yo! Like, fucking like an Avengers, fucking Infinity War, like
meme where they all point at each other.
They're all like the women in Infinity War. They all like and they all like pose and like.
But I like that some of them didn't meet each other, but they still might have affected each other.
Mm-hmm.
Like so, like what you do, like definitely like, because all of them kind of go through this, like conflict at the beginning, or at least more the middle. But it's like where they kind of feel like what they do doesn't really matter, but like they just don't know that what they do actually is affecting each other. Like what they do actually matters and has value.
Mm-hmm.
It's like really positive.
Because I mean, they think I know, especially a couple of them think a lot of their actions are inconsequential to the grander schemes, and especially opposed to the other characters like Tom Cruise, who's basically just fucking Andrew Tate, yeah, basically, and how he kind of influences everybody with what kind of he says, but what he says is just bullshit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's there's so many like good quotes that he has, but like I just like feel horrible like repeating. But I mean, like they're great because of how like just pure like unabashed like I'm just like, again, just like we were saying about Kanye, it's just like the most heinous stuff. But I mean, there is that separation because he feels like he's giving advice, you know, like it's the one thing that he feels like he has control over.
Well, I think but I think also subconsciously at some point in his brain, I think he knows that like he's kind of just playing these guys. Like this is not actually how you do it. Just he knows these guys are into this kind of stuff, or he can get these guys to buy his stuff. So he knows what he needs to say, and
it's effective for like the short-term goal of like getting sex, but not like falling in love or whatever.
Well, not only that, just selling stuff.
Selling
his shit. Just like this is what you need to do. Again, just kind of like Andrew Tate. Just say a bunch of bullshit that makes guys feel powerful, and they will just fucking give you money.
I meant more of how
like I wouldn't think he genuinely believes in any of the shit he was saying.
I would say it's a huge part of his identity, but he is more like
he still sells himself like that. It's like because it takes a while for that interviewer to kind of break down his barrier and be like, all right, like I know stuff about you. And like I know there's more than this like this alpha dog. Like,
and that's what I mean, because he took so much effort to not to be a fucking nerd, but kind of like in JoJo. Like just basically erase his past to like so he gets viewed just kind of one way, and he just took so much time doing that. I have a hard time believing that he would actually kind of believe in any of the stuff that he was saying. Well, but this is all just more of like this is how I'm projecting myself.
It's less like he believes it, but like to an extent, like what he is doing, like it does work on people, like, but it's just like it works on like the lowest common denominator type people.
Yeah. This is like one of my favorite types of dramas where it's like whenever you have these like huge ensemble casts of like these epic dramas like Happiness, like I mentioned earlier, Fargo, Amores Perros, where it's like every single character are so integral to each other's like plot or subplot, where it's like, and in this case they're mostly strangers, and in some cases they are like more tightly knit, like Boogie Nights. That is also just like a massive ensemble. But it's like whenever I see a movie and it's like, if I just like think hypothetically how it would work if you took even just one character out and the whole story just like is either on a completely different trajectory or just it doesn't function at all. The way it was structured too, I appreciated how every scene had this cliffhanger, like you just barely get the last of like the context of the conversation they're having, and when they cut away it feeds into the next scene that's like completely unrelated otherwise to those character situation, but like they're kind of completing the sentence in a way. I looked up some interviews with Paul Thomas Anderson after watching the movie. He said that he tried to capture the channel changing mentality, and like for when the movie came out, which was 1999, that was more so like what people were doing back then, where it was just like, it was kind of just like regulated to flipping through channels, and you get all this type of like information, and like you could see this like horrible news report about like a mass shooting, and then like change the channel to a like hot dog commercial or something. And I really like how he was trying to go for that channel changing mentality that years later is still extremely prevalent, and even more so with the internet, and how like there's so much like extreme whiplash we get from like seeing one news report to like the next like stupid meme. I felt a lot of that carrying over, even though like the format he was trying to depict with this story is more obsolete now. The one scene that sticks out in my mind with that is the one where Claudia and Jimmy are having emotionally devastating argument, and then like immediately it cuts to Donnie, who's like walking through the store, and it's the most like jaunty, like commercially like store music, and he's like panicking about his own thing, but like he's just surrounded by this constant like, you know, like super happy, upbeat, like big smile, like just, you know, background music, but it's at the same time it's like overpowering what like the like stress he's going through at that moment.
I was gonna say, actually, more on that. I noticed specifically his character, the Donnie. They did that a lot. Like even when he's in the bar, they're playing like he like plays the jukebox. I forget what song he plays. It's the
Goodbye
Supertramp
Stranger.
song.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, he like it seems like a lot of the time they did that on purpose, like to be like he actually already like was surrounded by or was in like the environment he wants to be at, and like the issue isn't like, you know, oh he needs better teeth or he needs braces. like the issue is like within himself, and like he was already in a good place. Like he didn't need to like get distracted at his job or anything like that, or like really do anything. He just needed to like have that confidence in him, and it's like I like how they play that like kind of commercially music. It's like, you know, he used to be like a TV star, poster boy.
Mm-hmm.
It's like he thinks he's not, but like, you know, he's still like a very likable character, and he just needs to like get out of his own head.
Mm-hmm.
But what I really liked about this movie the most is it's weird. It's like they're all saying the same thing, and I can't really describe this other than like I think I've seen commercials like this, but you know, like someone's in the middle is talking, saying their point, and then it cuts to a different person continuing the sentence. Mm-hmm. Like it's like,
yeah,
I shop at this place because they have good deals, and then it cuts to like the next girl, but it's like all blended together. Mm-hmm. So it's like it's weird because they would do that. They'd be like going through one scene, and then the next scene is completely relevant to the one that it was just on.
Mm-hmm.
It's like continuing one long like message, or
mm-hmm.
like almost like a big long like soapbox speech about like happiness and life,
mm-hmm.
but like still being presented to where it's like entertaining. And especially the part where it's like they're really just kind of saying the same thing is like when they do like the sing-along, like with Wise Up. I know some people didn't like it because it's like really jarring because it kind of just comes out of nowhere. Like, but
I think it was good for the theme and kind of what they were going for, especially in that moment. That's kind of the low point of the movie, and that's kind of where they're all at kind of their low point.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the song kind of just embodies that. And I mean, that's kind of the whole theme of the movie, just connecting, and even, you know, changing from scene to scene. They always have, you know, whoever they're focusing on, you know, pass by or have something to do with whatever they're going to focus on next. Mm-hmm. And so I think all of that is to help that kind of just the connecting theme, you know, with connection, you know, mm-hmm. like being or in a place or listening to the same song or feeling the same way as, you know, all these other people that you don't even know.
I really like also that, like, I feel like there's a lot of drama, feel-good movies, like where the stakes are really high, like, you know, like there's like the threat of death or like the loss of like a partner or something like that. Like you don't want them to break up, but I like how nothing they're going through is particularly precarious. Like, yeah, there's like two people kind of on the edge of death, but you know they're older, and it's like death is kind of just part of being old.
And it's not like a big kind of all-encompassing problem. It's more of like, you know, just like personal problems and stuff like that.
Like it's just day to day.
And I mean, it's crazy. You go from one guy dying on his deathbed, you know, wanting to see his son that he hasn't seen and that he abandoned like 20 years ago, to, you know, fucking John C. Reilly, just, you know, want someone. Yeah, I want a girlfriend. Yeah.
I like how they can present like simple stuff like that, and make it like interesting, and it's like just because of how he writes the characters, and like the deeper motive is like it's not just about being a good cop or like getting a girlfriend. It's about like having like purpose,
feeling
like,
accomplished,
and you know, being happy, which is like a really timeless like kind of message, and it's just really positive.
I said this last time, but yeah, I think John C. Reilly is my favorite character in that movie. I really liked the I don't know, not only what he was doing, just I always find John C. Reilly really funny. I like John C. Reilly, and just the material they were giving him. It's nice, it's cute and sweet. You know, he's kind of like this big oaf kind of guy. Just again, apropos to who's kind of getting involved with the girl. I forget her name. Yeah, and that's the other thing this movie does really well, I think. Not only the connections to everybody, but the parallels. He's literally like this kind of dopey big cop guy. She's literally like this frail kind of drug addict girl who's like the son of a fucking billionaire or a millionaire, I guess.
Yeah, I like they have just like so many through lines going on, where it's like different characters will have varying degrees of like seriousness. Like Claudia is like trying to hide this part of herself from John C. Reilly, that she's a drug addict, and like obviously being that type of person and like going out with a cop who's like otherwise nice, and like opposite to her, he kind of wears his heart on his sleeve, and like he's very genuine and like honest, and like, and she's not like a straight up bad person, but like she's like just terrified by like anyone seeing her for like who she is and like what she's going through, and especially him because of like the consequences that come from that specifically. And then you have the kid who's on like national television, and he has to hide the fact that he has to like pee for this entire game show, and no one, like, even when he like tries to ask for help like between commercials, he's just like you can just like the pressure like is just like so well communicated, and like how just this like really simple solution to this problem, it has this knock-on effect of like ruining the entire like show, because like they wouldn't just like give him like just like this 1 minute like break or like just like not enough, or even like giving him the chance to just like be right back. And it's everyone's like pressure they feel to like do their job, or like in their like attempt to like have things run smoothly, it's just like that's what like kind of ruins things for a lot of people in the end. And like I liked that kind of main through line where it's just like just under the surface, like people trying really hard to act normal.
It kind of runs in threes almost. You have was it the Gator guy?
Yeah, Jimmy Gator.
Jimmy Gator, like he's kind of holding on to all the shit that he's kind of done, and not only that, his kind of cancer diagnosis. And you have this kid kind of holding on to the fact that he's got to pee and he can't really stand up for himself. They're all like holding on to something. And it's funny that him and the Donnie, who was also on that show previously, when he was a kid, it's also kind of holding on to that. They're all kind of holding on to something,
and real quick,
that they can't
change.
Yeah.
It's also something they can't even change.
Yeah, it's something they can't really do too much about.
Yeah.
Kind of powerless in a way. The Gator guy can't really do anything about what he's already done, and the cancer that he's gotten. The kid can't really stand up for herself, and Donnie can't really get over his past. And it's funny that they're all connected, because even with the individual themes and ideas that all the individual character has, like that connection between the not only the overall cast, but the kind of three that are all kind of in the same stratosphere as they are, like the kid and Gator and Donnie. And even with Philip Seymour Hoffman and Tom Cruise, he's trying to completely ignore his past, and then Philip Seymour Hoffman is trying to dig it up, And it's all these parallels to all the. It's like a whole. It's like I feel like that meme of like Charlie from Always Sunny. He has like the fucking board. He's like, oh, I know, Frank. You see all this. That's what I feel like. It's all these like red dots and strings kind of connecting each other, not just in like a circle, but in this way and that way, and he's connected to that, and he's thematically. It's all kind of coming in like a big puzzle, and it's really well done. And there's not a whole lot of movies that can really balance all these ideas, themes, and characters and do it this well.
I was actually gonna get to, because you guys were talking about your favorite characters. I have a weird take. Actually, I actually like Tom Cruise the most.
Okay.
And what I like about him the most, he wouldn't work alone on his own, and I feel like it's I'm glad he didn't just use a bunch of like innocent people, because I could see some people taking it and being like, well, oh, I'm a bad person, so like this kind of like good ending, you know, I affect other people in a good way. Like that's never gonna happen for me. Like no, he intentionally included like people who did bad shit, and not really Jimmy Gator, but you forget like Tom Cruise's parents are like bad, like his like stepmom is like having all this guilt and like wanting to take all these pills and kill herself because she like cheated on his dad, and you don't. I feel like he gets the reason I like him the most is because I feel like he's the one who goes through the most change actually, because by the end of it, it's not really said outright, but I feel like he's probably gonna give up the whole alpha dog thing, because right at the end his dad tells him like the most important thing, which was like, I feel bad too, like I screwed around on like the stepmom, and I screwed around like all the time, and like I have like all this guilt about it. And it's like Tom Cruise would see it as like he didn't end up like his parents, but he also doesn't need to like put on this like persona. Even the people who did wrong to him and like his mom, like in his life, like they still care and value like people and things. And it's like, if they can have some kind of last moment of redemption before they die, like then like even they're like not like just these like purely evil, like out to just hurt Tom Cruise. Like, and I feel like maybe Tom Cruise would change maybe his mindset on like how he approaches people and like how he talks to people. He realizes he doesn't need to be like this Andrew Tate guy. But yeah, I actually really like his character the most. I like seeing him kind of break down and be like,
and man, goddamn, like I don't see Tom Cruise in a lot of good shit. So like, man, he brought his fucking acting chops to this one. Like that scene where he finally meets his dad and he kneels down for him and he starts crying, and breaking down in front of him. He does such a great job with that, and it's almost hard to forget that it is Tom Cruise, because he does such a good job, and I feel like I've never seen him do that good in anything else that he's in. I know people like him in Rain Man. I haven't seen Rain Man, but
yeah, he's also like a big asshole in that one. But like, that one's more like.
It seems like he's exhausted of being an asshole. Like he's like he finally just gives into like, okay, I have feelings and care about others, and I can't pretend that I don't care anymore. And then he just like gives up and just lets it all out, and like that was good for him. Like that was really good for him, and he'll probably change as a person.
I like that another theme about like just letting go of like what doesn't matter, or more specifically, I think Donnie says he has so much love to give, but he just doesn't know where to put it. And like, he thinks that like getting braces to like have this one thing to relate to with this crush that he has is gonna like, you know, get him to like him. It was reminding me of Claudia with A Chance of Meatballs, where she was like, you thought having the same allergies would make you more attractive. And just like, and I mean, I think with that, it's just kind of like nothing else has really worked out in my life, so I'm going to hyper focus on this one thing that I think can make work, and just try to force it, but like not focus on anything else. Like, this is important. This is what I need to do. This is what's going to make me happy. Like, nothing else. And I kind of relate with that, and kind of the whole journey he goes through, especially meeting up with, you know, John C. Reilly, who's kind of like the opposite. Like, he's having basically, like the Donnie character is hyper focusing on this one guy that doesn't even really like him or know him very well. and John C. Reilly kind of just gets this opportunity to go out with this pretty girl, like, kind of for no reason, just because. Again, just the dichotomies and the reflections on all these characters is just really well written. It's, like, I don't really think anyone but PTA probably could have written something like this. Because he's, like you said, Boogie Nights is kind of similar. And, I mean, he has a lot of experience with, like, these big ensemble casts like this.
The frog falling thing, I really like, too, because it's, like, it almost it's like a good way to like
I think that's
cold cut it, because it's like he didn't know, like, because it'd be hard to be like, okay, where do I like draw the line and end the story, and I like how that kind of just makes everything they went through like pretty inconsequential, and it's like, okay, like now like I'm not really thinking about braces or am I gonna get arrested. I'm like thinking like, oh shit, there's frogs falling, like that's not good, like am I gonna die, like or what
the fuck's going on.
And then
like, maybe it's kind of like more of like an extraordinary event to kind of make you rethink things a bit, you know. It kind of stops, and that's what it kind of does. It everybody in the movie kind of just stops everybody in their tracks, kind of, and everyone's kind of just in awe of this kind of almost biblical event. Not to mention, you know, the Bible verse they had kind of everywhere in the movie.
Divine intervention. Of like I see it as like it's the wake up call, you know, where it's like everyone is like finally like able to see what's bigger than them, and like what that kid says in the library while it's all happening. He's like, these things happen, and it's kind of, it sort of reminded me of like Fargo, where it's like the opening is like, this is based on a true story, and you find out it's not, like, at all. But what it's mainly trying to say is like, this happens all the time.
Happens all the time.
Yeah. And like in this case, it's like, even though it's like and again with that opening where it's like the most insanely like coincidental situations that like happens to these people, where it's like the chances of something like that happening are so little but still possible. That's what it's trying to like bring out with the frogs raining, where it's like the through line, where it's like, this is the thing that is connecting everyone together, much like the song, and like how like, you know, like as like crazy as it seems that like your very mundane choices in from day-to-day life, like you think only affect like those around you, it's like it's a complete like butterfly effect.
You're right, kind of is similar to that, where it's showing these extraordinary things, or these things you think would be crazy or kind of exclusive to the movie, but it's really something that, you're right, that just does happen every day, that people talk to people or connect to somebody that they don't know and affect them in some way without even really realizing it. It's not something extraordinary like frogs falling out of the sky. It's something like you said, that's normal, that happens to everybody. And I think whether you're talking about, you know, Tom Cruise or John C. Reilly or any of the other characters, all these problems that they're having are relatable. They're things that lots of people go through. Drug addicts, problems with their parents, and consequently feeling that you haven't really done anything with your fucking life, or you know, putting up a shield, a macho kind of persona to kind of protect yourself. Because I'm sure we've all kind of felt or experienced something that they were doing, or something that they were kind of dealing with in our own lives. You know.
Well, that's what I like about the end, is like, I feel like the other thing that the Frog Rain did was like kind of bring them all together. Like, you know, Donnie's like, oh, what? Like, this guy's just like caring about my well-being even though he doesn't know me. And it's just like, a lot of them start the movie out like just kind of alone with all these bad thoughts. Like, they're all just kind of isolated. But like, pretty much the solution to all of their issues was like that they needed to socialize, and that like to come together as people, and that like it's like not the world's not against them kind of thing. Like, you know, John C. Reilly immediately, like, after the Frog Rain situation, like, doesn't even care about like how the dinner went with Claudia. He's just like, hey, I just want to be with you. Like, can we just do that? And she's like, yeah. And like, she's like, you're gonna find stuff out about me you're not gonna like. And he's like, I don't give a shit. Like, because like he just like, he just loves her. Yeah, you know, he really likes her. And then I don't know why I almost just called him Tim Robbins. Tom Cruise.
Tony Robbins.
Tom Cruise also gets like that healing moment, because it's not just, oh, he got to like be there with his dad when he died, but he's just not like alone with this like because his real self is like, you know, like an upset little boy who never got over stuff.
Yeah.
But like, you know, even like Philip Seymour Hoffman kind of being there for him, like you know, he's like there, like he's not joining the group hug necessarily, but just like the presence of another human being that's concerned about your well-being is like very healing spiritually.
Yeah.
And like
having someone to confide in and like truly be honest about like the person you are and like what you've done. Another bit of like thematic overlap was when John C. Reilly is like talking about like it's a tough call to like give people who have made mistakes like another chance to redeem themselves. I see like the divine intervention of the frogs kind of mirroring that with Gator's character, where he's confronted with his past again and like how he abused his daughter and how he's ready to just like
molested her.
Yeah.
I always like the way he delivered that line. Like I always find shit like that unintentionally funny, because I know he wasn't trying to be funny, obviously, because you know he's admitting that he molested his fucking daughter. But just the way he delivers it, I thought that was molested.
No, the part that upsets me is what he says right after that. Because he's like I don't know. Even know. I don't like he don't know.
Jesus Christ.
Meaning he was like probably like so inebriated, or like it was so long ago that he just really can't remember.
Just like sheer repression and like
or just repressed.
And how it's not enough to like you don't
and
atone for your sins by like just like opting out. Like you have to correct your mistakes.
And that's what I was about to say. Like I think everyone gets a chance to redeem themselves in the movie. Even the Gator guy, like, because it's basically right. Like divine intervention is telling him basically when he tries to kill himself, like, no, you don't get to take the easy way. You don't get to just leave, and you gotta atone for what you've done. This is not how to do it.
I'm glad you actually said that, because like I was gonna say something about that in a minute, but like because I realized like everybody seems to kind of get their like maybe not happy ending, but like their closure to their situation. But I was thinking like, man, Jimmy Gator kind of just doesn't get shit. Like he just doesn't die. But it was like, well, maybe like divine intervention also tells him that there's some kind of like God or afterlife, and that you know maybe he can do something with that. Like is that instead of just doing nothing and choosing to just opt out from being alive, it's like the cancer is gonna kill him, but you know like maybe there is some kind of after. Like, that he can redeem himself to like whatever god there might be.
And there's so many moving parts, not only with the characters but with the settings and the things that they're like everything's connected. Not only just the characters, but the places they go, the things they pass, the buildings they're in. You know,
people should make happier movies. We need more inspiring movies.
Well, I mean, the thing is like
I mean, that's the thing. I think with any art, it's kind of just reflective of reality, and I think reality is pretty depressing. So.
Yeah, that's a lot of expression.
And most importantly, what this movie does is like, it makes the hope at the end and like happiness so much more satisfying because you've been through this like horrible journey with these people, and like I feel like that's what makes like a more. It's not the only thing, but it's what makes a story so much more impactful to me whenever it's like you do feel the importance of something even as small scale as this, where it's just like a group of people and their personal issues. It feels earned and not just like cheesy and like well, you expected all this to happen.
A perceivable, like realistic ending.
Yeah.
Like not like, oh, this is just the happy ending that they wrote in. You know, it feels like it's achievable.
Yeah, they're on their way to making their life better, and it's like leaves you as an audience member like, like now it's time for you to make your choices now.
It's kind of like in that way. It's kind of like BoJack, and that's what I liked about that show, especially the ending of that show. There's not like this big revelation or fucking dance party at the end where everyone's like, and everyone's like dancing and then you get married or whatever. It's a long, kind of slow process. It's all just a process, you know, to getting better, to getting happy, or to getting what you want.
But yeah, that's pretty much my review of the movie. It's really good.
Yeah.
It's a 10. It's probably going to be on my top 25 for a long time.
Yeah, I thought this kind of last time, it seemed like you guys definitely kind of connected to it personally a lot more than I did. I still really liked it, and I guess the most personal I could get is like John C. Reilly, but yeah, I'm just a sucker for like cheesy Rick romance like that, and
I feel like you're a mix of John C. Reilly and Donnie.
Yeah, I still liked it. I don't think I'd give it a 10. No offense to you, Hunter, but
Well, that's what it is.
yeah, I think I'd give it a 8. Good 8 out of 10. Thought it was really good. Really solid. Nothing kind of super impactful or life-changing for me. Just like really well-done concept by a really good director. Great movie.
Maybe that is why I gave it a 10.
Still great.
Because it was very view-changing for me.
Yeah.
Like, this actually like definitely changed my life view.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
That's completely valid. I'm only giving it a 9 for now, just because like I'm trying to like figure out or like let it settle within me. It's just kind of like one of those things where I don't want to like give a 10 to like immediately to like some movies, but like I mean that's just like kind of like a safety net I use by rule of thumb. It's just like it if it is a 10, like very soon after it usually like becomes a 10, and I'm just trying to see how well it like holds up whenever I like view it more times. But I mean, yeah, that's basically it, and I'm gonna be watching this like so many more times and like show it to a lot more people. Yeah.
All right, good, solid. I guess it's time for a little movie recommendation. And we're gonna get ours, like I said, from Daniel-san. So Daniel-san, what you guys you got cooking up over there?
All right, so the first movie I did was one that I had already seen before, so I thought I'd choose something that at least I haven't seen before. Chan is Missing from 1982, directed by Wang.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, so Chan is Missing.
1982, yep.
Yeah, I'll be excited for that next time. And, yeah, that's it from us. See ya.